We're live, my friends. We're live. Let's make sure that everything's working here. Hello, 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 everyone. As always, I want to give a couple minutes for everyone to make their way into El Chato. But as you're coming in, please say hello. Let me know if you're here for the first time. Let's see. Things have been slow these past couple days. I don't know if people just aren't getting notification or what's going on, but I'm going to tweet this out right now. As you're coming in, people say hello, please. Say hello. Oh, we got people coming in now. Hello. Make sure, can everyone hear me? Can everyone see me? Let me know. Let me know. Just tweeting out the link real quick, making sure everyone knows that we're here. Anyway, hello everyone, welcome. As you're coming in, please say hello in the chat. Let me know if you're here for the first time. And then I'm interested to know, out of all the videos that I've put out this year in 2019, so January just ended. So out of all the videos that I put out in January, which one was your favorite? Out of all the videos that I put out on this channel in January, which one was your favorite? I know that some of you may need to look back. I know some of you, it might be really hard to choose. You're like, John, they're all so good. How could I ever choose? I would appreciate it if you would choose. I would love to know as you're coming in. Let me know that you're here in the chat. And then, sorry, don't use, sorry. Things are popping up on my computer. And then let me know, what was your favorite video that I put out on this channel in January? Would love to know that. All right, let's give some shout outs to some people. Welcome back, Seth and Michelle. Welcome to Selena, Ansara, Daniel Garner. Welcome back, Keith Siri, Dalia Sanchez, Kermir. Welcome back, Katie. It's Katie and Julia. Big shout out to both Katie and Julia. So glad y'all are here. Let's see. Michaela says, favorite video, Understanding the Trinity, probably. That's awesome. That's a series that I'm going to be doing over the next couple months that I'm really excited about. Nicole says, Understanding the Trinity. Daniel says, probably these live streams. Devin says, I liked your video about the Father. Michelle says, Christians listening to secular music. Jonas says, just the fact that the vlogs are back. That's right, the vlogs are back. Sweet Bear and I are back to vlogging once a week, and we are uploading them to this channel. Sarah says the James series. Olga, also the James series. Selena says, are you an enemy of God? That's a very specific video of the James series. Eleanor says live streams, and Chloe just says love your videos all together. Well, that's fun. That's awesome. Thanks, team. That really means a lot. I appreciate that feedback. If there is ever a video that I make that you particularly like or you particularly don't like, I really value your feedback, especially you all who come and watch this live stream and engage. This is a really tight community that I value very much, so I would appreciate your feedback on all of it. Now, let's get the show started. Welcome everybody to Q&J Today. This is the daily live stream show. I think we did one every single day this week, Monday through Friday. That's awesome. In the chat, I'm going to start pulling those in just a minute, but not before I let you know that today's show, as with every show, we are brought to you by the Super Chat. The Super Chat is a really great way for folks like you to help support this channel and help support this ministry. Also, if you give in the Super Chat today, it guarantees that I will answer whatever question you ask. I will answer every question that comes in with a Super Chat. For those of you who don't know what the Super Chat is, it's located just below where you type something into the chat. I know a lot of you have been here before, so you know this spiel. It's located just below where you type something into the chat. There's a little dollar symbol. All you got to do is click that. If it's available in your area, you give $1, $2, $10, $20. Every single dollar makes such a big difference. It helps me to continue to make these videos that you all were talking about loving earlier. So if you're in a place where you're able to do that today, I would so appreciate if you would throw a couple dollars in the Super Chat. All right. Now that that is out of the way, let's do it, people. We're here. It's Friday. We made it through the week. Let's get down to business to defeat the Huns. Let's answer some questions. All right, what questions do we have today? Noran says, hey, John, can you please talk about how to know if it is God who spoke to you about something or someone or something else? Great question. This is actually one of the videos that I put out in January. If you just want to search that question on YouTube and type in my name, you will find it. It was one of my coffee time videos from January. I highly recommend that you go and check that out. It will answer that question for you, I think very well, hopefully. All right, let's see. Michelle Eversley asks, what do you think went wrong with this new generation? I'm interested, Michelle, in why we are assuming that something has gone wrong in this generation. I think there is a lot of recency bias when it comes to blaming things on generations. If we remember generations before us, in terms of young people in the 70s and 80s, they were rioting in the street against Vietnam, and they were smoking pot, and they were listening to rock and roll music, and people were like, what happened to this generation? What happened? And every generation before that has had sort of a negative sort of view from the world, and especially from the church. But actually, what I see in this generation is I see a generation of young people that are coming up who care so deeply about authenticity, and they also are a globalized generation, meaning that because we have these things, because young people have these things, we see what's going on all around the world, not just through mainstream media and news outlets, but we see it from actual individuals that we follow living in other countries. You all watching this from all over the world right now. What that does, it globalizes us in a way that helps us to empathize with people who are different than us. I think there's good and bad depending on, it's not that something went wrong with just this generation. I actually think that's a very easy thing to say, and to blame the problems of the world on young people. Actually, though, it's where is that from? Oh, it's from West Side Story. The detective says, you kids make this world lousy, and Riff says, we didn't make it. Or no, Doc says it. Doc says, you kids make this world lousy, and Riff says, one of the Jets says, we didn't make it. And I think that's actually a really good way to look at it. And that this generation, I don't think anything's gone wrong with them. I think they're inheriting the world that we created for them. And so I think it's better to look inward with that kind of thing. That was a long answer. Let's see. Keith Siri asks, how do you integrate women into ministry? The same way for me, and I know this is very controversial, I would integrate women into ministry the same way I would integrate men into ministry. I would ask, what are their gifts? How can their gifts be used best in this context to glorify God and to help build his church? Boom. That's what I would say. Let's see. Chris on Kim says, hey, John, my youth group is having our monthly game night tonight. What is a fun game to play as a group? So there's a game that I played not too long ago. Well, there's one, you'd have to go and buy it. It's called One Night Werewolf. It's super fun. It's like a way better version of Mafia. Big shout out to you if you've ever played One Night Werewolf. But there's another game that I learned. It's very simple. Last month. It's called, I think it's just called the pen game. So the way it works, pay attention, everyone gets in a circle and you get one pair of dice, or two, like a pair of dice, yes. And everyone gets a pen, there's one pen and everyone gets a sheet of paper, and one person starts with the pen, and you start writing numbers from 1 to 100. You write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you just keep writing as long as you can until someone rolls double sixes. And when someone rolls double sixes, they take the pen from you and they start writing until the next person rolls double sixes. So you just roll, pass, roll, pass, roll. I roll double sixes, give me the pen. It starts off kind of slow, but the game actually gets very, very exciting. Shouts to you if you have played the pen game before. Let's see. Seth asks, thank you, Seth, for the super chat. I so appreciate it. That really means a lot. Seth asks, do you think you can be saved after the rapture? This is not a question I know the answer to. What do I think? I think I don't know, and I think I'm okay with that. I've done several videos on sort of the end times and talking about the rapture. And one thing that I think is we should be very, 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 very wary of anyone who speaks about the end times or speaks about the rapture with any sort of certainty. Because what I see in the Bible time and time and time and time again is Jesus saying, we do not know. No one knows when the hour will be. No one knows exactly when it will be. No one knows exactly what it's going to look like. We see in Revelation, John, he uses all of this poetic language. And whenever we see poetic language, we have to know that the writer is using metaphor. The writer is using a bunch of different language devices. And so I always caution people, whenever, if in any scenario, if you hear someone speaking about the end times or the end of the world or the rapture with any sort of certainty, as in this is the day it's going to happen, I would be very wary of that person. I would be very wary. Hannah, I would love to answer your question, Hannah Snively, but I just want a little more context. You're asking, can you talk about mental health and the gospel, like how the two work together? The question is just confusing me, but I think it's a good question. So please just elaborate a little bit on what you mean. Let's see. Sarah asks, is there a website to find Christian friends? Yes, it's called youtube.com/John Jorgensen videos. You can go there, join the comments section, subscribe, start watching these live streams, and you can start meeting people over in the chat. Come on now. Let's see. Let's see. A juice box. We're so glad you're here. So glad you're here. That's awesome. All right. Let's see if Hannah got back to me on what she's talking about here. Yeah, Darth Vader was a shameless plug. I hope you enjoyed it. Sam asks, when do you think the end times will be? I have no idea, and neither does anybody else, and you should be very suspicious of anyone who tells you they do know. That's what I think. Zoe Russo asks, why is it hard for me to rebuild my broken relationship with God? This is a really great question, and it's actually the topic of today's video on this channel. You can go and you can check it out. It's called How Do I Get Closer to God? And it just explains this question exactly of, how do I rebuild my relationship with God? How do I grow closer to God? How do I grow closer to God again? The answer, I'm not gonna tell you the answer. I'm gonna have you go watch the video actually. The answer is way more simple than you think. It's just something that barely anybody wants to do. That's what I'll leave you with. So Hannah, you got back to me, awesome. Sorry, I'm a caretaker for my fiance with schizophrenia. Do you have any stories that could relate to that struggle from a biblical sense? Great question. So I think what I think is really interesting when we look at character profiles within the gospel is we see a lot of characters who perhaps struggled with mental health in different ways. We think about, kings, like a lot of the kings in 1st and 2nd Kings, and how they were just obsessed with their own image. And that in and of itself is sort of a mental health crisis. And also, if we look at the teachings of Jesus, I think there are probably a lot that can be, and also the example of Jesus, there is a lot of wisdom that we can pull from in terms of our own mental health. I also would highly, highly recommend checking out and reading through the Psalms, because what we see in Psalms, specifically in the Psalms of David, is we see a man who is opening up his mind, a man who in his own ways probably struggled with mental health in some form. We see him opening up his mind and bringing those struggles and bringing those frustrations and fears and anxieties, all of them, bringing them to the fore and bringing them to God. And so I think I can't give you any specifics, but my hunch tells me that diving into the Psalms and really putting yourself in David's shoes or anyone who struggles with mental health, putting yourself in David's shoes could be a real help, I think. Could be a real help. Let's see. Zoe, I hope you do go check it out, and I hope you enjoy it. I really do. What color? Beatrice asked, what color do you think is God's favorite? I think God's favorite color is yellow because it's my favorite color. That's all I have to say on it. Oh, Audrey asked, hey, John, do you ever plan on getting ordained if you aren't already? So ordained, I am technically ordained, like in the fact that I can perform like a wedding. I just got like an ordination online. However, at the church that I currently serve at on their teaching team, you don't necessarily have to be an ordained minister or ordained pastor in order to preach. And pretty much any church that I have been invited to speak at and to be invited to speak with does not necessarily require an ordination from their guest teachers. And so for me, while I absolutely respect traditions where people are like officially ordained as pastors, it's not necessarily something that I feel is necessary for myself in order to continue to pastor people and continue to lead people in the way that I do. I have absolute respect for people who do feel that they need that. It's just not something that I feel I necessarily need from my own spiritual perspective. And it's not something that circumstance has brought me into either. Petra asks, can you give me some encouragement when so many young people leave the church? Absolutely. So there's a couple ways of looking at it. We could see young people leaving the church and we could feel bad for ourselves and think, oh, the world is stealing everyone. Or we could see so many young people leaving the church and we can look inward and say, what is the world offering them that is so much better than what we are currently offering them? Because here's the thing. If we truly are to believe that Jesus is who he says he is, Jesus is undoubtedly then the most attractive figure in all of history. And the gospel of Jesus is the most attractive, unbelievable story ever been told. And the good news should bring anyone and everyone in. So then, if people aren't coming in fact, if people are leaving, I would actually argue it's because the gospel is being taught and the gospel is being preached and Jesus is being presented inaccurately. Because if we were truly showing people who Jesus is and what his love means, then people would want to come in. We see that. We see that happen with Jesus all throughout his ministry. More and more and more, everywhere he went, more and more and more people were attracted. They were drawn to him because what Jesus is he is the physical manifestation of the deepest, deepest desires of our hearts. That's who Jesus is. And so when Jesus is truly being presented, people are going to come. People are going to show up. The fact that people are leaving, that's an opportunity for us to look inward and say, how am I not actually representing Jesus well? That's what I would say. All right, folks. Unfortunately, that is all the time I have for today. Thank you all for a great week. This has been a lot of fun. Thank you to everyone who is watching. Thank you to everyone who asked questions. Thank you to everyone who gave in the super chat. I'm sorry I wasn't able to get to every question today. We did get to some really great questions. I love this community so much. Hope to be back soon. Not sure if we're going to get to any live streams over the weekend. And next week is honestly kind of up in the air for me. I'm away. I'm speaking all week. So who knows? But I promise you, I'll work hard to be able to get on and do a few Q&Js. All right, friends, make sure to check out the brand new video, How Do I Get Closer to God? It's on the channel right now. You can just go there right now. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do. And yeah, I'll see you all soon. Love you. Keep being awesome.